Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of the series where we are making a letter opener out of some copper pipes. So far this is where we're up to right now. Off screen I flattened this a little bit with a mallet to make it a lot nicer to hold because I didn't really like the roundness of it. But I mean, you don't have to do this, but I'd recommend you do it. Anyways, in today's video, we are going to be making a leather sheath for this knife. So everything you're going to need is a scrap piece of leather, some small nails, like this, two sewing needles, some string. You're also going to need a utility blade or a very sharp knife to be able to cut the leather. This is one that I got off my local hardware store. I'd highly recommend it if you're starting out. You will also need a block of wood or something you can hammer into without needing to worry about damaging it. And then you're also going to need a hammer of some sort. I'll be using this hammer because I can't find where my other hammer went. And alright, that's about everything it needs, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to thread both of our needles with the string. So let me show you how to do this. So first what you want to do is find the end of your string. Then you want to grab the end of the needle and you just want to push it through and you pull it from the other side. You want to leave a bit of slack, so you want to keep it close. And then what you want to do is you can see if you look closely on the thread, can't really show you right here, but it's like twisted around on multiple different strands. So what you're going to do is you're going to unravel those strands by twisting opposite direction. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to, let's unravel it a bit, and we're just going to poke the needle through the string. Okay, once you poked it through, we pull the end that's sticking out of the needle, like so, and we just pull the needle, and it should stay. Let me just do this again. Just do this. And then you just pull like this, and yeah, it stays on the string. So now we're just going to do the other side. We just thread it through. This side's a bit frayed, hang on. Yep, so we just thread it through. If it wants to go in, Jesus, it really doesn't work. And once you get it through, you unravel a bit of it, push it through the string, pull the end a bit, you just tighten it like that, and then pretty strong. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work with the leather piece. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our copper marking knife, and you want to make sure you have like one flat edge. You can use the blade to just cut one, and what we're going to do is we're going to place the blade like this. We're going to leave some excess up there, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the spine of the blade, like the dull part, inside of the leather, so then the sharp bit is pointing outwards. And what we're going to do, we're just going to pull it real tightly over like this. And what you want to make sure is that there's a little bit of the handle in the actual sheath itself. So you just want to put it as tight as you can. So then it should look like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the wooden block that we had. We're going to place this very tightly. We'll put it on this side because there's a bit of exposure there. And let me just make it so it's a bit easier to see. Do it like that. Do this, push it as far off as possible. I'm just going to put it on the, hang on. Yep, so we're just going to put the knife like this, pop it over very tightly, and like that. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to clamp this down here like this. So you're going to grab, you don't need to clamp it, you can use the nails straight, but I'll just clamp it because then I need to show you how to do this first. So we just clamp it down. Okay, you want to make sure that the knife is on the edge, so it should look something like this. So you want to kind of move around the clamp so then it's like on the edge. And what you can do is you can, let me put it like this. What you can do is you can just pull on the leather to make sure it's as like stretched as you can. You want to make sure there's more stretch here than here. So like you see how there's a bit of excess. So what we do is we just pull down the whole thing and we just clamp it down. And there we go. The leather is quite taut. And now what we can do is we can actually feel where the blade is. Can't really show you, but I can show you back here. See how like you can feel the blade? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hammer and the nails from before, and we're just going to nail like closely, like not exactly on it, but closely to where the blade is under the leather, because that's going to help us put the holes for the, you know, the sheath, and then we're going to stitch it. So I'll do the first one on camera, then I'll do the rest off camera because it is kind of a lengthy process. So you want to make sure it's as close as, so you want to make sure it's like around there. I'm just going to hammer it. And then and then the reason why we have the piece of wood is so then it can go into the wood and it just won't move. So you need to have enough nails to put holes or like mostly around it. You can reuse the nails. See, like this is the hole that we just made. So let me show you what it looks like when you've done the whole thing. So it should look like. So now after punching out all the holes, we should have an outline that looks something similar to this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch it all up. And the way we're going to do that is by first taking this, I'm just going to fold it in half, and we're going to push the needle through the first hole. Only one of them. Okay, so we push it through like this, and then you want to find like the halfway point. So you want to hold both needles in your hand and just pull the string until it can't be pulled anymore. And then that's the halfway of your string. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to saddle stitch it. Well, saddle stitching is essentially where, hang on, let me just grab this, like this. Saddle stitching is essentially where you put the needle halfway through like this, and then you put the other needle through like that, and then you pull them out through at the same time. It's a little difficult for me to do this because I have to hold it with the other hand, which is why I'd recommend you have like some sort of like apparatus or something to hold on to it. It'll make life 100 times easier, trust me. So, and essentially, each stitch, well, hang on, let me show you, after a few saddle stitches, let me show you what it should look like. It should look like this is what it should look like. You don't have to worry about like the stitches being like too small or something, because what we're gonna do is once we've come up here, we're gonna go back, and we're gonna keep going back and forth as many times as you can with your string, and then it's gonna like layer it up. So instead of just having like one string pass through in each one, it's gonna have two. And it's gonna make the string a bit stronger too, which is why I'd recommend you have a bunch of string. But it's a good thing that we did put the holes in, because the holes are just essentially very good guidelines on how we should stitch it. So yeah, let me show you once we fully stitched it. So yeah, once you've stitched up to here, you turn back and you stitch to here, and you keep going for as many times as you can until you reach the end, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so now that we've reached the final stitch, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one needle, and instead of passing it all the way through, we're just gonna pass it through one layer and then push it out like this. So then it still overlaps it. We're gonna do that with the other side. So you take a needle. Okay. What we're gonna do is, instead of passing it all the way through, you just pass it through one and push it through the middle. Now what you can do is you can just stretch it out, like stretch the string out, take a knife, cut the string, and then now we should be left with this. Okay, so now what we do is we take the two ends and then we just separate them. Okay, and then what we do is we just tie a knot to them. You can do any knot you want. I'm just going to do this simple knot. And tighten as much as possible. And what we're going to do is we're going to add another knot, and we're just going to do this a few times over to make sure everything is properly like tied down, so then it doesn't just become loose and then make the string go, pretty, what's the word called? I guess pretty loose. Yes, that's the word, loose. Because we don't want that happening, because it just makes the thing bad. Okay, so now take your knife, just gonna cut it along there, pull the string out, and then what we do is we can just take something like a copper wire, and we're just going to push the excess string in. Oh, there we go. See, so just open it up a little, and just push the string in like so. You just want to push it in and then close it down. See, like that. So you should be able to see it. Now, this is the final and most important step. What you do is you take your letter opener and you just want to put it in. Mine's is quite a tight fit, all things considered, but it works. But I wanted it a tight fit so then it doesn't just like come flying off. So once you put it on, I'm going to take the board from before, and I'm going to take the knife. This is a very important step, you don't want to mess this up. So you want to cut. What I'd suggest you do when you're cutting off the excess is you leave like a bit on, like next to the string, because it's better to like undercut it than to overcut, because if you cut too much then there's nothing you can do about it, but if you cut a little bit then you can still fix it. Just do this, just pop it in, and we just cut it very carefully because we don't want the thing to get damaged. Hang on, let me just, I think my blade's dull, which is why it isn't cutting. Like, there we go, now my blade is decent cutting. You see, like, just to show you, you see how I've kind of like shredded like the outside bit? You don't need to worry about that right now because we can always just fix that with a little bit of clean cutting. So now we check the other side. And now what we do is we just kind of take the edge of our knife, kind of just dip it down. And it's basically like an up and downwards chopping motion. And what this allows us to do is create a sort of curve, like so. If you can focus. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this. Now, I just have a little bit of excess left down at the bottom. Just cut that like so. And we just shave down the edges a bit, make them look all nice and presentable. And yeah, there we go. Is your letter opener sheath. Just pop it out. There you go. See you next time.